Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego with my beautiful wife, Karina from beautiful Venezuela. And Karina's waiting for her green card. We processed her K1 visa, and she passed her embassy interview at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, Colombia. We got married on the beach here in Florida, January 14th, 2024. And now we're waiting for Karina's green card. Although good news today, she got her work permit authorization, which is great. But this video is about the K1 visa application. Basically, all you need to know about the K1 visa application. So come on along and let's get started. The K1 visa allows the foreign national fiance of a U.S. citizen. Now I repeat, U.S. citizen, you got to be a U.S. citizen to qualify for the K1 visa. It allows the foreign national to come to the United States of America and get married within 90 days. 90 days. This is a non-immigrant visa, which means it allows for a temporary stay of 90 days in the United States. It's not permanent residency. Okay, so don't get confused. It's not for permanent residency. So with that said, you must make sure you get married within 90 days within the time frame allowed by the Border Patrol on the I-94 entry document. Okay, and then you get married within 90 days, and then you apply for adjustment of status and become a lawful permanent resident, otherwise known as a green card holder.
Can I ask you another question? It's only going to take a minute.
No. As of April 1st, 2024, the cost to apply for a K1 visa is $675. The price went up, okay? And this price does not include the $265 visa fee at the embassy stage of this process. And it doesn't include the price of the medical exam in the beneficiary's home country, which is given by a doctor, otherwise known as a civil surgeon, approved by the U.S. government to give K1 visa medical exams.
Oh, listen, one more thing. It'll just take a second.
So some of the rules that are required, some of the requirements are that you must be a U.S. citizen, and also the K1, the sponsor, must meet minimum income requirements. Now, the government says you got to be equal to or exceed 100% of the federal poverty guidelines to qualify for the K1 visa. But my advice, our advice, though, is to be significantly over 125% of the minimum income guidelines before you file your K1 visa application. If you don't meet this 125% income before filing the K1 visa based on family size, get a joint sponsor. So the government says you got to be at 100%. Okay, so you make it through the visa interview. Then you get to America and you get married. Then you got to be scrambling for a joint sponsor if you're only at 100%. So my advice is to be significantly above 125% of the minimum income guidelines before you file for the visa, or go ahead and get your joint sponsor now. If you live in Hawaii or if you live in Alaska, you will have to reach a higher income threshold in those two states. Okay? So let's start with the basics. The U.S. citizen will fill out Form I-129F, Petition for Alien Fiancé. And then the sponsor will put together a fantastically strong K1 visa package and will mail it to the lockbox in Louisville, Texas, with all of the supporting documents. Okay? Now, if you want to find out where to get USCIS Form I-129F, go to this website right here. Okay? Make sure you are using the most up-to-date edition of this form. Okay? So what documents must you include with your K1 visa application? Well, first of all, the U.S. citizen, the sponsor, has to prove that he or she is a U.S. citizen. So get a copy of your passport's biographic page, blow it up nice and big in color, and use that as evidence. And also, if you are a naturalized American, also include your naturalization certificate, a copy of that, and or your long form birth certificate. Okay? Also include an enlarged copy of the foreign fiance's passport's biographic page, plus any K2 children's biographic page. Okay? You must include that. Very important. It's important that you provide evidence proving your relationship is real. Immigration want to see a real relationship. How long have you been dating each other? 1 year? 2 years? 2 weeks. Okay, you got to prove that your relationship is real. So how do you do that? Well, you get lots of pictures together. You get lots of pictures with family and friends. You keep your travel itineraries. You keep all your boarding passes from all your plane rides back and forth to whatever country your beneficiary lives in. You keep bus tickets, hotel receipts, etc., etc. Karina and I, we went on vacation to Cucuta, Colombia, which is in northern Colombia. We went on vacation to Cartagena, Colombia, which is on the west coast of Colombia. We went to Playa Blanca, Bendita Beach. We had a great time. We went to Chahuachi, and we also took a 16-hour bus ride from Cucuta, Colombia to Bogota. And we included copies of the receipts and the plane tickets and of all of our trips together, and we included it in the K1 visa application.
Oh, one thing I almost forgot.
Now remember, we're in the 21st century now, ladies and gentlemen, and so you can collect evidence of a real-time relationship in the digital world, which means you can include additional evidence from your screenshots, your social media interactions, like screenshots of your communication on social media like Facebook, Instagram, things that you've tagged each other in Facebook and Instagram, public displays of affection on Facebook, photographs, etc., chat histories, so that you can demonstrate strong, meaningful conversations and experiences that you guys have shared with each other over the years of being together, or over the year of dating each other, however long it is. Okay? If you communicate a lot on apps like WhatsApp, Yahoo Messenger, get a well-organized collection of your communications. Okay? Let's say 1 year of dating would include 240 screenshots of WhatsApp or Yahoo Messenger or emails, etc. Okay? If you play online games, like this is the 21st century is the gaming year, right? If you play games together online, share subscriptions, etc., include those in your K1 visa application. Show the evidence of you guys are communicating with each other. Now, you must also include letters of affidavit from family and friends, okay? Confirming, reaffirming your relationship. Get emails, text messages, like I said, in WhatsApp or Yahoo Messenger, like I mentioned, between the sponsor and the beneficiary. Also include copies of receipts of dinner dates when you went to the beneficiary's home country, like I was in Colombia for a long time. And on my second trip back, I stayed for 4.5 months. And every time we went on a dinner date in Colombia, in Bogota, I kept the receipt. Okay, so I had like 30, 40 dinner dates. So I had 35 receipts from dinner dates. And I identified each receipt. This was dinner at this restaurant. This was dinner at Viva La Pizza. This was dinner at Nene's Pizza, etc. Keep receipts if you buy your beneficiary gifts, you buy your beneficiary a birthday present or a Christmas present or whatever. Keep those receipts and include it in your K1 visa package and identify what the receipt is for.
I'm sorry to bother you, ma'am. I just wanted to ask you one more question.
What is it?
Now, before you submit your K1 visa package, you guys should be engaged to each other at a minimum. You should be engaged to each other. So, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, you should have at least purchased an engagement ring for your beneficiary. Take a picture of it, include it in the K1 visa application, but make sure you identify the ring as an engagement ring. Very important. So you get the receipt for the engagement ring, you white out the price, and you have the jeweler where you purchased the ring from write engagement ring on the receipt. Okay? Also include in your K1 visa package photos of your engagement party, in everyday clothes. Not in cultural clothes. If you wear cultural clothes at an engagement party, immigration might think this is a wedding party and they could possibly deny your K1 visa based upon the photographs. So you got to be very careful what you include in your K1 visa application. Have an engagement party in regular clothes with family and friends. Identify who's in the pictures, when the picture was taken, what day, and etc. And include it in your K1 visa application. Now, the sponsor and the beneficiary must also prove that they have met each other, they've been in each other's physical presence at least once within the 2 years before you submit the K1 visa. Now, does that mean you've got to be dating for 2 years before you submit the K1 visa? No, it means within 2 years before you submit the K1 visa package, you guys have got to be together within each other's presence. I was on vacation with Karina for 5 weeks, for 4.5 months, for 11 months. We spent almost 2.5 years together, okay? And I collected all this evidence. Evidence to prove this includes your flight bookings, your boarding passes, your hotel receipts, itineraries, pictures with family and friends, emails, etc. The more pictures with family and friends, the better, is my suggestion. And identify the names of the people, the date the pictures were taken, and the location the photo was taken. Immigration don't care about selfies. They don't care. They want to see pictures of you with your family and friends as a family. I got so many pictures with Karina's brothers and nieces and nephews and her friends in Bogota. And I mean, that's what I submitted with the K1 visa application. Our recommendation is that you meet up with each other at least twice and spend lots of time together. Okay, I made 5 trips to Colombia. I spent a lot of time with Karina and her friends and her family in Bogota over a 2.5 year period. And the sponsor and the beneficiary must also write and sign and date an individual sworn statement called a letter of intent to get married, explaining the nature of their relationship, stating they intend to get married within 90 days, that they promise to do that they're both legally and free and able to marry each other. You've got to identify the citizenship in the letter of intent to get married. I put, I'm a U.S. citizen, I'm Diego, I'm legally free and able to marry Karina within 90 days, etc. And Karina wrote her letter of intent to get married. I'm Karina, I'm a citizen of Venezuela, I'm legally and free and able to marry Diego, and I promise to do so within 90 days of entering the United States. And then you both write individual letters and you both sign them. If the beneficiary doesn't know how to read, write, or speak English, the letter must be written in the fiancé's language that she can speak. So Karina wrote her letter in Spanish, okay, and then I got it translated into English by a certified translator. I used the Spanish group, and I included my letter and Karina's letter in Spanish, plus the translation and the certification in the K1 visa application. Now, the letters of intent to get married are legal documents, okay? They don't need to be notarized. But they must be signed and dated by the sponsor and the beneficiary, and they must be original letters, not copies, and you include them in the K1 visa application. Don't put copies in there. The original wet inked signatures, okay? And if your fiancé, your beneficiary from whatever country, has visited the United States on vacation before, you must include all the Form I-94s, arrival and departure records from past vacations in the United States. You must also include one passport-style photo of the sponsor and a passport-style photo of the beneficiary taken within 30 days before you submit the K1 visa package. Okay, I was in Bogota, Colombia with Karina, and in April of 2022, we went to the Bogota photo place. We got our passport pictures taken, and then I brought those pictures back to the United States. I put them in Ziploc bags, okay? I put the Ziploc bags behind the I-129F form, which is in a document protector, and included it in the K1 visa application. So you put all this evidence together in document protectors, and then you put the document protectors in a binder. You can get these items from like Office Depot. Do not use staples and do not use paper clips to attach documents together, okay? If you do, it slows down the process. Don't include those things. It will definitely speed up your K1 visa processing time if you just put your documents in document protectors, put them in a binder, and mail them to USCIS Louisville, Texas, like that. And don't forget to make a cover sheet, okay, for the front of your K1 visa package, which identifies the contents of your K1 visa application. What's in this package of stuff? What are you sending to immigration? Make a list, an itemized list on a cover sheet. You address the cover sheet to USCIS Louisville, Texas, and the address, and then you put from Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, application for I-129F, to whom it may concern, etc., etc. That goes on the front. That's the first thing they're going to see. And the second thing they're going to see is a check for the amount for the K1 visa. And then the third thing they're going to see is the form G1145, which is where you want to get a text message from immigration stating they received your K-1 visa package. Then the next thing they're going to see is the form I-129F. And then you just basically put everything in the document binders as is listed on your cover sheet. Now, if this is your second K-1 visa, you're allowed to have two. If this is your second one, make sure you include a letter of explanation as to what happened to your first K-1 visa. What happened? It didn't work out. You didn't get married within 90 days. He or she decided to go back to his or home country. You got married, you got divorced, you went back to her home country. If this is your second K-1 visa, write an explanation clearly stating what happened to the first K-1 visa, and also include any documentation from your first K-1 visa. If you have the NOA-1 or the NOA-2 letters, any emails, MVC welcome letters, things like that, which will identify your first K-1 visa that didn't work out. If this is your second K-1 visa, that's fine. You're allowed to, but make sure you include an explanation to immigration to what happened to the first person. Explain it, okay? Very important. It just helps speed up your second K-1 visa processing time, that's all. Also, feel free to include your last tax return, tax transcript, W-2, 1099, etc. in your K-1 visa application. And also, I would recommend you include USCIS form I-134. You don't need it for the K-1 visa processing at the application for the approval, but you do need it for the visa interview. I would just go ahead and fill out an I-134 plus your tax return and your W-2, 1099, etc. tax transcript. Include it in your K-1 visa application, which will just add strength to your package and give you a better chance of getting an approval if immigration can see what your income is, even though they don't really need to see that until you get to the embassy stage, okay? Now remember, the form I-134 is officially called the Declaration of Financial Support, and it's filled out by the U.S. citizen sponsor for the visa interview. This promises the embassy that you will be able to financially support your K-1 visa applicant while they're in the United States of America. Now, the I-134 is totally different from the Affidavit of Support, which is Form I-864, which you, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, will have to fill out when you apply, when your beneficiary applies for the green card after you guys get married. So, submit a very strong K-1 visa package with lots and lots of evidence of your relationship, organized in a fantastic way in document protectors, okay, in binders. Make sure you pay the correct fee. Make sure you fill out the check correctly to USCIS. It's U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Make sure you fill out the check correctly. Make sure it's the right amount. If you don't fill it out properly, the check, and if you don't pay the right amount, the whole package comes back rejected. And I recommend you don't pay by credit card. Lots of banks are blocking the transactions. Just pay by check, and make sure you are qualified for the benefit before you submit it, okay? Meeting all of the minimum requirements. Now, don't compare your K-1 visa package to somebody else's K-1 visa package. They're totally different. Okay, my K-1 visa package for Karina, which got approved on May 30th of 2023, is going to be totally different from your K-1 visa package that you submit. Just treat every K-1 visa package like DNA, like fingerprints. They're all different. So don't compare the time processing for your visa package over somebody else, okay? Don't forget that immigration will also do a thorough background check on the U.S. citizen sponsor. They'll do FBI check on the sponsor. Some criminal felony records will be a reason for a USCIS to deny a K-1 visa. To make sure you are qualified for this benefit, meet the income requirements. Don't have a criminal record that's going to disqualify you. Make sure you meet each other face to face within 2 years before you file the visa package. Make sure you don't make any mistakes when you fill out the I-129F. Make sure you don't miss any of the important documents that are required for the K-1 visa package. Okay? And number one is be patient during this process. Patience, patience, patience. It's taken about 7 months between NOA-1 and NOA-2 letter as of April 28th, 2024. And this video is being made on May 7th, 2024. So it's about 7 months between NOA-1 and NOA-2. But then you got to wait for the MVC processing, and then you got to wait for the embassy processing, which could be however long it takes. Depends on how busy the embassy is. Be patient. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next live stream, which I do for free for you guys on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you any legal advice. I don't work for USCIS, etc., etc. And thanks for watching, and we will see you at the next live stream.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. See you later. Bye.
I'll be back.